this thing on. No sound. Very well. Let's see. Hang on, guys. I realize you can't hear me. Checking my mic. Do we have any audio? Can you hear me now? Okay. Let me check and make sure the levels are alright too. And I think they are. Is this sounding okay? Okay. Yeah, well, this ought to be fun. I've got in a box off to my left an Anet A8, which I received from Gearbest, not as a promotional offer or anything, but as a result of me giving them money. So let me switch over to that, and I need to make sure I paste in the microphone over there, so give me just a second. Alright, so you should be seeing a screen with kind of a split screen view, same box on both sides. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, well, let me move my chair over. You won't be seeing my smiling face during most of this, unless I'm leaning way down working on this thing. I'll turn this so I can see the chat a little bit. All right. I'm in here. Hello. Well, all right. I wonder if I can see the chat closer. Hang on a second. Got an iPad handy. Will it let me see myself? Who knows? Sometimes YouTube's a mess. Let's see. Show me my participants. It won't. Oh well. There are 6 of you here. I see Mr. Buttram and Derek Matthews and Techie Dad and 3D Medic Vince and maybe me. Maybe I'm showing up as a participant. And who else have we got? I can't tell. Well, anyway. Ah! Jay Glassy. Hello and welcome. Awesome. Alright, so I've got a cutty thing. I will start cutting into my box here. And we'll see what we get. Now, I saw that comment about being brave with the Anet A8. And I know that it's got kind of an awful reputation as a destroyer of homes, generally by burning them down. So let's see what all we got here. I'm hoping that I've got enough room to do all this. Let us hope. Alright, so I have an H. I don't know what this is for. I'm assuming that this holds the bed. This is probably the Y carriage. I'm going to set that aside. I have... Lord. A very tiny packing list. Got some safety instructions, which we can probably ignore. What do you think? Should we ignore these? There's something here. A small bag. Oh, this was a thing that I had also done as an add-on order. It's an LED strip. So that was just a like a little $3 add-on on my Gearbest order that I did. A microscopic sample of PLA. Let's see, what else do we have? Some padding. Got the heated bed. There we go. Set that aside. Oh look, I got some tools. It's actually not a bad pair of flush cuts. I brought my own to the party, but we'll use that. Got a screwdriver, a wrench, some Allen keys, another screwdriver. Hey Roy Holly, how's it going? Okay, I've got, this looks like the cable that goes to the bed. And this looks like a bundle of cables to go to the stepper motors. That's exactly what that looks like. It's got the 4-pin connectors on one side and the 6-pin connectors on the other. I have some magical mystery thing here. I'm really not sure what that is. I am guessing that all of this will be revealed. Another little bag of acrylic parts with all of their protective paper. The last thing in this top layer is a bunch of bearings, and I'm sure that that will have some bearing on our build. I'll set that way aside. I am at a loss to explain why there is a bag of tiny condoms. I will set that aside. That's ridiculous. Alright, this looks like either one of the front panels or the back panels. These are part of the spool holder. Oh man, I'm going to run out of space to do all this, aren't I? Got the smooth rods here in a couple of different sizes. Lots of acrylic parts. These look like stepper motor mounts. You know, I think I'm gonna maybe not pull too many of these things out of their original positions yet. We've got our Anet mainboard. Looking at the back. Looking to see what version it is. I guess we'll open that up in just a bit and find out. Got the LCD in a box over here. Come out, I command you. There we go. And I realize I'm showing most of these on the bottom camera. If you want me to show things on the top camera instead, I can do that. Y'all just let me know. Hello, Gabe Colon. How are you? Let me set this aside. Man, there is just so much acrylic. And it's got that styrofoam smell to it. Well, that's interesting. All right. I'm guessing that this just bolts right onto the power supply. Here, we'll do the top camera. Yay. Hello, Trolling for Dollars. How are you doing? Oh, I've just got so many parts in here. I'm going to guess that we're not going to finish this today. Because I only have till about 5:30, which is a little bit over 2 hours from now, and then I have to go and pick up my kid. Oh, this is nice. I didn't know that this was a dual Z, but it is. I can at least take my steppers out. And look, one for each camera. Hey, wait. There we go. Oh, well, the focus is terrible on these. Sorry. We got our Z steppers out. We got our X and Y steppers with the pulleys already mounted on them. So those are right there. Set those aside. Look. It's another fan of the A8. Got the parts cooling blower right here. Yeah, late on a Friday afternoon, one's focus does suffer. Oop, got some parts falling out of this. Alright, so these are X-axis parts. And I've got one little bolt that came out of this. Oh, that seems to have come out of the little dealie for the lead screw. Yeah, that's exactly where that goes. Interesting that that managed to somehow work its way out during shipping. My guess is that it was never actually on there very good, so as I put this together, I am going to have to make sure that all of these bolts are tight. Got some more wiring harness stuff. This looks like the end stops. There we go. More acrylic. Got some Z rods, got some threaded rods right here. Got plenty of zip ties and got some cable wrap. I like spiral cable wrap. It's not too bad. Got a belt. That might be both belts, for X and for Y. There is a USB micro SD card reader. Got a big old power supply, I'm guessing, in this white box here. It's unlabeled, but yeah. That looks very much like a power supply. Would you not agree? All right. And then there's more acrylic parts. So, I like how there's an instruction manual with all this. I've got a box full of acrylic. And not a manual to be seen, although I am going to hazard a guess that there probably is one on this little card. So y'all bear with me for a second while I check in on that. Let's see here. Is that going to show up? I plugged it in. There it goes. OBS is eating about half of my CPU. This has a folder called English Instructions. That's a good thing for it to have. Alright. Well, that gives me a PDF, and that's good. I can throw that over on an iPad. Hang on just a second, guys. So how is everybody doing this afternoon while I'm doing this? Gonna check in with you guys. Yes. Yes, Mr. Buttram, OBS is a hungry little beastie when it comes to CPU resources. This poor little computer is just dragging on the ground, it feels like. You want me to pause, Mr. Buttram? Go take a leak. I'll still be here. Besides, I'm getting the manual moved over to a tablet here so I can take a look at it. This should be fun. I mean, my last printer build was my Mark III, which happened in this very space. But that was back in April, right about the time I was starting my channel. And I had no clue how to stream. And now it is very late November. And I've had my channel going for 6 or 7 months. And I have no idea how to stream. Did you guys ever print one of these? The can mugs? They're kind of cool. Well, this doesn't bode well. I've just poured Coke on my pants. Come for the printer build, stay for the clumsiness. I can't believe I did that. I'm not normally that klutzy. You know what's funny? The chat is refreshing better. Hey, Brit Hawks. The chat is refreshing better on the stream than it is in the popped out chat window that I've got. Very interesting. All right, now the Anet printer installation guide. Let's see how that works out. Well, the third page says, follow Anet on Twitter. Assembly instructions. Step 1. Please make sure the package is not broken when you receive it. Please check the printer parts according to the packing list. That wasn't the packing list. I did have a packing list. It was a very tiny scrap of paper. Where did I set that? It's over here someplace. Hey, Mr. Buttram, what you missed was me spilling Coke on my pants. No, no, it's not Pepsi. It's Coke. I am not a Pepsi fan. I am a Coke fan. A8 Assembly Parts List 1. The hotbed fixed aluminum plate. That would be this. I guess that's H for hotbed. What do you guys think? Well, thank you, Mr. Buttram. I like the can holder too. That was one that I found on Thingiverse and did a very slight remix of to make it easier to put a logo in the center of it. And then I printed a small version of what was going to be a maker coin. There, put it over here. Does that work? This is horrible. As you can tell, the color correction between the two cameras is awful. Let's see about getting some of this blue junk off of here. This is going to eat probably 80% of the time of this build. I can probably guarantee you. Trying to get all this plastic junk off of all the metal junk. You stand corrected? I sit corrected. How are the can holder tolerances? Well, I tolerate the can holder okay. When I made a quick little video about it, somebody didn't tolerate it and they gave it a thumbs down. Anyway, I've got a little foam spacer in here. It's a piece of servo tape. I gotta wipe that out too. Clean this thing out. Sorry, I'm clumsy. But anyway, I have down inside here a little piece of double-sided tape, and that shims it up well enough to keep the can in place so the can doesn't just fall out. This goes right on in there. Sorry for the noise. Sorry for the mess. So much acrylic. You know, these guys really like acrylic. Should I take this thing apart to get the acrylic out from under it? This is the carriage for the heated bed. What do you guys think? Unscrew this to get the plastic film off? Can I be sorry for the sorries? I suppose I could be Canadian for the day. Sorry. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this stuff. The reason that I'm going to unscrew this stuff is because on one of the X-axis parts, there was a bolt and a nut that were loose, and because of that, I've decided that I'm going to make sure that all of the nuts and bolts on this thing are tight. So, given that I'm going to be having to mess with them anyway, I think I'm going to unscrew this and then screw it back together. I'm not going to use a thread locker on it though. That might be overkill. This is probably going to have to be a two-parter. And I'm not going to be able to do this tomorrow. I might be able to pick this up again later tonight. I need a separate trash bag just for all of the plastic film on this stuff. This is going to go like this, I am guessing. I'm noticing that there are some little holes here in the corners, and my suspicion is those are for the leveling screws on the bed. So I need to make sure that those are facing outward. Alright, and that is that part. What's next here? Or is this just all parts lists? This is all parts lists. Come on. See, that's not even in the first step. Alright. I need to get the bag of screws here, because we're going to start putting acrylic together. Heat bed parts. Wing nuts, really? Wing nuts for bed leveling. Yeah, I'm going to be printing some leveling knobs for this rather than use wing nuts. Alright. Yes, definitely, Mr. Buttram. The heater cartridge must be secured. All right, let me find these pieces. I see. And really, gigantic pieces of acrylic are cheaper than aluminum extrusions? That's just wacky. Giant pieces of presumably like laser cut acrylic. Oh lordy. What a pain. What an absolute pain all of this stuff is. Now I know some people have put these together and just left all of the paper on. I can't do that. I'm just not that kind of person. This stuff has to be peeled off. Oh my God, this is going to eat all of the time that I've got, just peeling this stuff. But I wanted to open this thing on camera live. And it looks like all of the parts are in place. Structural paper. I have a hard time believing that all of this meticulously cut plastic is somehow less expensive than extruded aluminum. I mean, what do you guys think? You think this printer would be less expensive? I mean, it was only 120 bucks, 129, I guess. But do you think it would be less expensive if it were metal instead of plastic? Now see, that's nice looking though. And then, you know, you just when you think you've got this done, you turn it over. Holy moly. Ah. Oh, is that what the deal is, Techie Dad? Yeah, I guess the price of resources varies depending on locale. And if the this protective paper was not bad enough, I've got all these little tiny snowflakes of styrofoam that, because of the static of peeling this, are just wanting to stick to everything. Well, yeah, I know, Techie Dad, but I have a hard time leaving the stuff on. Maybe I'll just get it off of these uprights and off of the part for the display, and then the rest of it can keep its protective paper. And then if this becomes a printer that I enjoy using, then I guess I can go back and pull the paper off, or disassemble it and reassemble it. Or should I just say screw it and just start putting the darn thing together? Because this is taking an inordinate amount of time, because they don't have little tabs that you can pull. Oh, you had a clear one. I didn't know they made clear ones. That actually sounds kind of cool though. With clear acrylic, you could mount some LEDs like along the edges here and pump some light through it and get some interesting effects, especially if you had color change LEDs. You know, I would have paid an extra 20 bucks for this printer for them to have peeled this stuff off before they sent it to me. By the way, I appreciate you guys popping in and showing up. Hey, Chris Riley. I didn't see you pop in a minute ago. Yes, Chris. This is very appealing. I was planning on using the heck out of that pun. Now I'm mired down in the actual peeling of the paper. Goodness gracious. There's just no easy way to do this, is there? Did I turn my mic off? Hope not. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Twitter's Chris Riley. Oh, for crying out loud. This wouldn't be quite so bad if it didn't have all these little fiddly bits where it's got cutouts to snap together with other parts of the printer. There. Now I gotta find the crossbar that the LCD goes in. It should be down here. Now I see why Glenn keeps Xander around to make him peel this stuff. Didn't they do was it like a Tronx EX1 or something? Or some printer that they were putting together that they had to peel a bunch of paper off the acrylic. Actually, the acrylic seems to be coming off of the crossbar a lot easier than it did off of the uprights. Child labor laws. Does it count as child labor if you aren't paying them, Mr. Buttram? Or does an allowance constitute payment? And if you guys need me to adjust the camera angles, let me know. Because I'm just kind of going into this, again, not fully knowing what the heck I'm doing. Hey, Chris Riley, I have a question for you. Hope you're listening. When you did the Marlin firmware installation on your Anet, was that an A8 or an A10? And did it have a bootloader, or did you have to use one of the thingy boppers that you need to get the code in the thing? Hook the thing to the thing and then stuff happens? Oh, sweet mother of God. More paper. But I think this is going to come off pretty easy on this one. I will check the version of the main board. I couldn't tell from the box. It had a picture on it, but I will open that up in a little bit and see if it's a 1.5 main board. Because no matter whether I'm trying to put Marlin on there or trying to get the printer side of Clipper on there, I'm still going to need to be able to get code, firmware, loaded on that main board. Well, so far the two worst pieces for getting paper off of have been those uprights over here. These things were just a pain. I think as long as the edges don't have too many little nooks and crannies, the rest of it just works pretty well and comes off smooth. What time is it? It's already 3:45. We're like 45 minutes into this and I've just got paper off of a handful of these pieces. Well, let's see what we can get done in the next hour and 15 minutes, because I think the latest I can stick around here is going to be probably about 5:45 Central, because I got to go get my kid after this. Crooks and nannies? No, nooks and crannies. Oh yeah, the other side. It has stuff on it. I guess all this acrylic is why people do metal versions of the A8, the AM8. Now, is the AM8 just an aftermarket mod that people do, or is that like an actual kit, or what's the deal? Or is that an actual product from Anet? Hello, Paul Cumber. How are you doing today? I suppose I should do this a little more over here. I'm turning so I can see the chat. But when I do that, you guys can't see what I'm doing. And, well, where's the fun in that? All right. So according to the thing that I'm looking at here, I need the two uprights, which I've got here. I need the top piece, and I need this base piece, which I guess goes like that. And then I need 12 M3 by 18s. And by the way, kudos to Anet, because every single one of these bags is labeled with the screw size and quantity, which is kind of awesome. So M3 by 13s, or M3 by 18s I should say. There they are. Hello, Corliss Media and Jeremy Stone. Oh, cool. Jeremy, very cool. Okay, that should be 12 of these M3 by 18 screws, which I'll put right over here, and then I need 12 of the M3 nuts. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. This is kind of unclear, but let's kind of test fit these parts. So we've got the rear piece and front piece, and these clearly go like this, and then the screws go through, and then I see where the nuts slot in. Okay, that makes sense. I understand now. That means that I need to slot these nuts in, but I don't know if I need to do that before I try to get these pieces aligned or after. Let me get some needle nose pliers. Jeremy, are you doing the ADV i3++ firmware update or upgrade on your Monoprice Maker Select Plus as well? Or are you just doing the LCD upgrade? He said as the nut fell out of the printer part and landed on the floor. Where did that go? Oh, goodness. Nope. That's not it. Well, let's hope there are spares, and if there are not, I have various and sundry nut and bolt kits available to me downstairs. God, dagnabbit. Y'all remember Edward Scissorhands? I need to be Edward Magnet Hands, so I can quit fumbling these silly things. Well, based on the way that this is happening, I am going to probably put these pieces here like this and try to slide a couple of these nuts in. Are you done, Mr. Buttram? All right, well, thanks for stopping in. I'm sorry I didn't get more of this done before you had to go. Oh, goodness. I know some people like to do their printer builds using only the tools that come with the printer. I'm not like that. I want to use the tools that I know and love. Yeah, it is time to get a muffin pan. Do you have a muffin pan, a muffin pan, a muffin pan? Dagnabbit. Get an Anet A8, they said. It's easy to assemble, they said. I think once I can get this thing standing up, kind of like I've got it now, it'll be easier to get these pieces in. There's that. Now I can get this one slotted in. I was kind of expecting this to use like hex cap bolts or hex cap screws instead of just Phillips. But so far these are all Phillips. Which makes me sad because I've got this awesome set of ball end hex drivers. And I was really looking forward to using that. Get in there. I'm having a hard time keeping the nuts aligned as I try to get them in the little slots there is my problem. I'm losing my grip on them. But once I get them in there, then I can get the screw threaded in and then it's all fine. Let's see. Just some of the slots are a little tight initially. But then once you pop the nut in there, then it's like super loose and then it just wants to fall out. It's like, ha, fooled you. Made you have to push real hard to get the thing in there. But we'll get this in. I've got all four on this one side, and I will probably tighten that up here in a second. I'm switching screwdrivers because I can. Use one that has a better grip on the screw heads. Hey Terry. Now tape, that's a good idea. I'm not always known for my good ideas. Come on, get in there. There you go. This is actually kind of a clever bit of engineering. The way all these pieces interlock. It's like part Lego, part erector set. This is going faster as I get used to the construction method. I don't have any silly putty. I used to have noise putty. You guys ever have noise putty? You push your finger down in the little jar of it, and it sounds like you ate a big old pot of beans. Get in there. Here we go. I feel like I'm making progress now. Yeah, I've got plenty of silly, all right. Hey there, Pawpaw's Projects. Well guys, I think we're going to end up having to adjourn this in probably about an hour and a half. And I don't know how far I'm going to get between now and then. But I'm hoping that I make a good amount of progress. All right. So wobbly. All right, let's get this top piece on. And the top piece goes like that. I'm gonna have to adjust the camera so you guys can see. There we go. So I got 2 more bolts or nuts and screws to put on each side of this top. And then do this way. And then we'll be done with step 1. Just get those threaded in a little bit. Do the top one over here.
Don't you go flying off of there. Get in there. You got to go, Paul? Alrighty. I will see you on Twitter sometime. Or probably in the next Country 3D or Fun in the Country Basement or Chris's Basement or Fun King 3D stream. Because all of those guys are cool. And every single one of you is cool too. Don't let anyone ever tell you different. Are you talking just about the, Corliss, are you talking about the shear force this way? Just side, the side fumbling that can occur? Which is probably another reason why people go metal on these things. See, the acrylic is strong, but the acrylic is flexible. It doesn't really have the stiffness needed, I think, to keep everything solid. Well, that's step one. Let's see what step two is. Step two is going to be the Z guides that go up at the top. Now, that's not these. And that's not this. That's got to be over here someplace. Oh, those are huge. Let me set this aside a little bit. Let's see, where can I put this? Because we're going to need to work on it, but I don't want it too much in the way. All right. Well, dang, Jeremy, you're doing like all of the things that I've made videos on. That's cool. See, on the Prusa Mark III, you don't have that racking problem because that's just one solid piece of aluminum. And here we've got it built like if this piece of acrylic was just one, you know, or square shape, then it wouldn't rack side to side. Hello, Kit. Also, Jeremy, you are very welcome. I actually have a lot of fun doing this stuff. And by the way, everybody, welcome to my second ever stream. And apparently the audio is better on this one than it was the first time I tried all this. There we go. If this paper just had like a little tab sticking off of it so you could get the peel started, this process would have much more appeal to me. Well, Kit, the hardest part about getting this paper off for me is just getting it started. Once it's started, it seems to go okay. It just peels right off. You can't go super fast with it, but it's not like a price tag or something where it tears and tears and tears. Okay. So we have these two parts that are going to go up, sorry, that are going to go up on the top here. So let's see, this is telling me to pay attention to how these go on. Get the correct orientation on these. Like this and like this, there we go. Really? I guess. What is it trying to tell me? Is it just telling me to do this? I think it's just telling me to do this. And what do we need? We need the parts from step 1, which we've got. We need, oh, what's happening in chat? Okay. Well, Kit, drive safe. I need more M3 by 18 screws. 4 of those. 4 of the M3 nuts, and we're gonna get this top part on, or try to. Oh, dagnabbit. Just when I thought I was making progress. This upright that I've got, where the LCD goes, yeah, I put it on upside down. Why is my phone ringing? They're just going to have to wait until I can get a chance to call them back. Let's hope that the M3 nuts stay in place in here and don't go bouncing out around the desk. Oh, thank you, Corliss. Yeah, I watched a couple of quick tutorials on how to import graphics and how to do the text crawl on the bottom of the screen there, and made a couple of changes. Just kind of put a couple of things together real quick, and I'm kind of happy with the way that turned out. I do apologize for having to go back part of a step here. Come on. Let go. All right. Let's get this flipped like so and put back on. Come on. In you go. Try and get these screws in. What does the social media pop-up do, Techie Dad? Oh, cordless, I'm using OBS, the Open Broadcasting Software or System, or I'm not sure exactly what that stands for. The O is open, the B is broadcasting, and S may be system or software, I don't know which. And it is free. It is an open source project. Okay, that is now on there the right way, so that these will go on here the right way. All right, way.
Yeah, hang on a second. I haven't taken it out of the box yet, but I don't know what version it is yet. I was going to open it in a little bit and find out, but I'll open it now. It is a version 1.5. Do you want to actually see the board, or is 1.5 enough? Yeah, Terry, it's Mac, Windows, and Linux. Anyway, cordless, this is a version 1.5. If you want to see the actual board, let me know. Yeah, which board do you have on yours, cordless? Okay, then I'm going to have to do something to get the firmware on. But for this stream, you know what, I'm going to try to get the nuts put in first without this on there. For this stream, we're just going to do it stock, because I wanted to do an unbox and build video, or unbox and build stream. But then I'm going to set about the task of getting alternate firmware on here. All right, there's one. Let's get the other one in place. Well, that didn't work. Get out of there. You going sideways nut, you. Get in there the right way. You know, I think this would look better with the black anodized M3 hex cap heads instead of these silver Phillips heads. Yeah, Terry, this is the fire hazard. Or the fire starter. It got a bad reputation because it did not have the thermal runaway protection enabled in its stock firmware. I don't know if they have rectified that or not. I want to say they have, but I don't know for sure. So this printer is not going to run unattended. And the problem that seemed to occur was that the hot end would fall apart on people, and the heater cartridge would come out, and then it would just sort of snag on the print. And because the heater cartridge was not
in the same assembly as the thermistor any longer. The printer just kept pumping more and more power into the heater cartridge, trying to get a response from the thermistor to get the temperature up, and it never could. And the heater cartridge would get up to, you know, what, I don't know, 400 or 500 degrees, and just cause whatever plastic it had embedded itself into to burst into flames. The racking doesn't seem too bad. I mean, I can imagine that if it was, you know, kind of doing real quick moves, it would probably set up a little vibration, but it doesn't seem that bad just kind of out of the box. Okay, this is getting set aside, and the next part is working on the back end of all of this, which I think this is a part of. Looks like the part in the picture. And what else do I need for that? I need a stepper. So I need the Y stepper. That's the X. This is the Y. Why? Because we like you. M-O-U-S-E. We got that. We have that, and then there's a weird L-shaped piece. Let me see if I can come up with that. I'm sure that's around here someplace. It's not one of these, is it? These are some little bitty pieces. That's one of them. And it looks like we've got an end-stop switch that's going to go on that, so I'll have to find that. I'm guessing one end-stop switch is as good as the next. And my phone is ringing again. They're going to have to deal with the fact that it's Friday afternoon and I've left work for the day. Well, darn it, Corliss. I didn't know that there were so many little quirks and gotchas. That's okay, though. We'll get this going. Let's see. Got this and this. And it... No, I'm missing a piece. There's one more I gotta grab. The piece that the end-stop switch goes on. Which looks like that. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for the tweet. All right. Let's find that end-stop switch. Oh, there's all kinds of little things here that are going to come spilling out. Hang on. Little standoffs, which I don't know if those were made in Mexico. Get it? Mexican standoffs? Let's see. There's a thing and some other things. And this probably tells me which switch is the Y-axis. This is the Z end stop. This is the X end stop. So that leaves this, which is the Y end stop. Why? Well, why not? Trial by fire. No pun intended there, huh? Yeah, I will not be letting this thing run unattended until such time as I have some firmware on it that I know for a fact has thermal runaway protection enabled. Okay, let us gather the screws that we need. We've got the back plate. We've got the Y-axis motor. These are a little bit, these where you guys can see them. We have the X-axis motor support, which is this. We have the X-axis motor fixed plate. Is that that? Or is that that? Anyway. This is the axis limit switch fixed plate. We need some M3 by 12 screws, which are not those. There they are. We need 4 of those. We need 2 M2 by 12s. And where are those? Who ran off with my M3 by 12 screws? Yes, sir. I see the H plate. H for hot end, or heated bed. Yeah, Carlos, I'm not cranking down super hard on the screws. I would assume, Corliss, that the downside is with the crossbar facing down. Would that be a correct assumption? I wonder if there's another bag with some other screws in it. Because I'm looking for these M2 screws, which look like, oh, there they are. They look like little wood screws or something. I think they're in here. M2 by 12s, that must be those. I gotta be careful with this particular bag because it's got like the couple of grub screws in it. Let me see what I've got here. I'm going to assume that I have these 4, and 2 of them are going to be for the x-axis limit switch, and 2 will be for the y-axis limit switch. That is my guess. And the rest of this goes back in this little bag. And the grub screws go back in so that I do not lose them.
The cross plate is on the underside of the H.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Because that gets it further away from the heated bed, and that gets the part that attaches to the belt lower as well.
Belt paralyzer? What is a belt paralyzer, Techie Dad? Yeah, when you guys see me looking way over here, I'm reading chat.
Whoa. Well, that's not good.
That acrylic is broken. Let's see, let me get this where you guys can see it. That just snapped. As I was picking at the paper, that snapped.
That is not good. Because that is part of this. This is supposed to go right here. Now you guys can't see that. I gotta hold this up here. This part is supposed to go here, and this snapped.
Well, that doesn't bode well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, unless the STLs for all of these acrylic parts are online, I'm going to have to sit down and model it and then print it. And I'll probably print it in black PETG just to give it a little bit of strength, since that's the strongest filament I've got. Well, you know, they say to expect the unexpected, but if you expect the unexpected, then it's expected, and it is no longer unexpected. I'm rather disappointed at that.
Clearly it was well packed. Yeah, I'm trying to see. It looks like it supports the back side of the motor, so we can probably continue on. Now, Techie Dad, you've identified that as a secondary motor standoff, so would you concur that we could proceed forward without that and then print a replacement part later? Because it appears that it just keeps it supports the back side of the motor.
That has, however, firmed my resolve to remove the paper from the remainder of these pieces, because had I not removed the paper, that broken part would have remained held together but broken and would have failed a little bit later. And then I would have wondered why. What did I do wrong, I would say to myself. All right. Let me get this rear cross piece shorn of its paper, which should not take long. Overall, though, this has been going pretty smoothly, so nothing to get upset about. Since that does appear to be a minor support piece, the show will go on. I'm glad that that's not a showstopper. All right, get the other side of this. You know, I could probably CA glue that, but I know that would still be a weak joint. No, Jeremy, it's not that big of a deal. If it's just a little thing that the back half of the motor rests on, I can look at this part, measure it with my calipers, and whip up a replacement real quick in Tinkercad. Y'all don't laugh, I like Tinkercad. One of these days I will get more hardcore into Fusion 360. But today is not that day. Ah, Corliss, did you find one for me? I can just print it without even having to design it. I would guess that a lot of these more fragile parts have replacements available on Thingiverse. All right. Okay. It's a little unclear on the order of operations here, but I can see what it's wanting. This goes like that. This sits on top with the hinge in this orientation. So I'll take these two little screws and get that in there. Gently now. This acrylic has proven itself brittle. There we go. A multi-purpose part. Well, see, that sounds interesting. I'll have to look at that in a bit. Let's hope that there are no other broken acrylic bits and that I don't break any through my own incompetence either. I'm very carefully putting these screws in here and the end stop switch. Just because I'm a little skittish now about this acrylic. Needs a little bit more to snug down. But we're definitely not cranking this down super tight. Just enough to hold. Because really an end stop switch for one of these axes. It doesn't need to be super precise. If it's got a ½ millimeter of play one way or the other, it's probably okay. All right, that is together. This needs to go on the motor. The diagram is not showing the orientation of the connector for the motor. So is the motor connector going to go just into the main body of the printer this direction? Like, let me put this up here. You have the connector here, so this is the main interior this direction. That's kind of the logical way to do it, although, well, I'm looking over at my Mark III, and just the wires come out of the motor differently on that anyway. It doesn't have the same kind of connector. This piece goes here, like that. And that's going to sit there. And we're just going to have that little bit of wobble. Yeah, I can see where that brace comes in when you're tightening the belt. It's going to keep the motor from twisting this way. All right. Okay, so this is going to be screwing in with the M3x18s, I'm guessing. No, it's going to be the M3x12s. To get down in there. The M3x18s are shown paired with the nuts, so I do not want to make a mistake. Yes, there we go, the M3x12s. Thank you for that tip, Corliss. Again, not super tightening, just kind of snugging down. But that holds just fine. And then this is going to go here, based on the picture. And as I look at this, the motor's on the left side of the mount. No. Let me get this in the correct orientation. This flips this way. There we go. This still goes here, because the other part sits back here. I don't know if you can see where I'm doing this. The broken part would sit where my finger is. Okay. Well, I'm going to get this bolted in. Get the two nuts in there. Man, these fasteners are nuts. That's a joke.
Mike Whaley.
Yeah, YouTube is
Really good about not handing out notifications.
Yeah, I had announced in chat on the stream this morning that y'all were doing that I may, emphasis on may, do a stream of putting the A8 together. And so that's why I'm here. Yeah, I'm going to have to print this little support again. Although, it almost looks like I could just wedge it in there and it would stay. I think I can. And in fact, I think I'm going to do that. It looks like the way that that part broke, I can just wedge it in there and it will still support the motor without a problem. There we go. Even when it's broken, it will do its job. We'll get this tightened on. There. That looks good. Yeah, the part that broke off,
I don't know if you guys can see this. Turn this way.
the part that broke off is the part where the nut goes through to secure it, but it's got the tab that goes all the way through the acrylic, and the tab is intact, and the motor is going to press against it, and that's its function. So I'll just set that aside now that I've got this piece. Well, I'm just leaving the broken part off for now.
Hey Matt, how is it going?
Man, this is an interesting build. All right, so I am now +2 screws and nuts. Why am I +2 on that? I only needed one for the part that wasn't there, or for the part that broke. Oh, I'm only +1 because the other ones hold the X limit switch in place. Can't forget that. That's going to go. That shows it this way. All right, I see. Okay. Let's get a nut in there. And then this will go here. I need to bend these wires up a little bit. Yeah, cordless plus the... Well, there's only one that got lost. The other one fell and it landed on a chair mat here, so I was able to pick it up. All right. Let's get that threaded in. Now I have an X or a Y-axis end stop. Click, 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 click. All right, we're done with that part. Step 4, putting this on this, which is done with 4 M3x18 screws and 4 M3x18 nuts. No, this is, that's the position of the switch. Let me get the diagram back up. The diagram for it shows the switch to the right of the motor when the motor is on the left of the bracket. So the switch should be here based on the diagram. This is not helping clearly because you can't see that, but that is the orientation in which it is shown. And it's actually a nice long cable. I don't know where exactly the the main board mounts, if it mounts over on this side, I guess, on the left side of the unit. It's very close to the right rail. See, this needs to turn around this way. There we go. This goes like this. This goes like this. Let me get the screws and the nuts real quick. 3, 4. Okay, well, if the board mounts on the left, there's plenty of cable to get around to the board from where the switch is. I should make like a little salt shaker or something that's got some big holes in the lid for just kind of shaking out nuts. All right. Well, this part looks pretty straightforward. I am going to slide that a little bit out of the way just so I can get the nuts kind of preloaded in those slots real quick. 1, 2, 3, and wait for it. 4. Yeah, I should put a subtitle on my video description. Just some idiot putting together an A8. You know, with the exception of that one motor support block that broke in a non-critical fashion, so far this has been going pretty well. And I will say also that so far the tools that they've included are not bad, although I am kind of switching back and forth between using my own tools and the screwdrivers that they provided. But that said, the screwdrivers that they provided are doing a pretty good job of not slipping out or camming out of the Phillips screw heads. What's chat saying? Yes, Corliss, I can. The end game on this is to use this as a test bed for the Clipper firmware. And the Clipper firmware is kind of a two-piece affair where the heavy lifting is done on a Raspberry Pi. It calculates all the moves, and then it just kind of sends the move information to a subset, kind of a very small firmware that's installed on the main board. And so by doing all of the heavy lifting on a more powerful, relatively more powerful machine, the printer should be capable of printing faster. Bye, Terry. Drive safe. So, that is where we're going with this. And by the way, everybody, just so you know, Corliss Media offered to put $100 toward this project to get it going. So that is what funded in large part the Anet A8. So that was super, super cool of Corliss, and I appreciate that. And So after we get this built and we get it printing with the default firmware, that is going to be the next step, is getting Clipper installed on it. Okay, so it looks like we're done with step 4. And off to step 5. And step 5 has 2 funky little pieces that I am sure I saw a little bit ago. They were not in here. Is there anything else in there? That's nothing left in the box but styrofoam and static electricity. Large quantities of both. Well, thank you very much, Corliss. I try to do this stuff so that it's kind of approachable and understandable. There's the part that I was looking for. And I know there's always a bunch of different ways to do things, and sometimes one person's way of doing things is different from another, and there's, you know, people have different ways of picking up information from a video or a tutorial. And so you might watch one tutorial, you might watch 2 tutorials that explain the same thing, but just in slightly different ways, and you totally get one and you're completely flustered by the other. I mean, I'm that way. I'm that way all the time. That's why when I find one that works for me, I like it. I mark it as a like on YouTube. All right, let's get this paper off the plastic here. And man, I am still hoping that that one little broken piece is the only one that we run into. I mean, I could have sat here peeling paper for an hour and a half before I got started on this. But I like the, my wife and I both call it this, the illusion of progress, where it looks like you're going forward. Sometimes that may be just taking an alternate route around some traffic, like staying on the frontage road instead of getting on the freeway, when the freeway looks like it's all backed up. And you don't really go any faster than you would have if you'd just gotten on the ramp and gone ahead and gotten on the freeway. But you're moving. And so it is the illusion of progress. Skalda. Yes, sir, I'm still peeling paper, but like I said, I'm doing it a bit at a time so that we actually have something to look at as we go. Now, I've got the majority of the frame kind of built. I've got the back half of it, and I've got the uprights, and I've got the crossbar across the top where the LCD and the buttons go. That's all built. Hey, John. Thank you for stopping in. I guess this just comes apart. Oh my goodness. I bet if Anet charged an extra 20 bucks when they sold an A8, and for that 20 bucks they peeled the paper off of the acrylic for you, people would pay it. People would pay it. All right. Get this little assembly back together. This is the idler for the Y belt. It's listed as Y-axis bearing support. That goes on this piece. And this appears to be unidirectional. There doesn't seem to be holes on one side and not on the other. So that doesn't matter as long as these face in an upward direction, like that. All right, so I'm going to get the nuts installed there. And then paper cuts. I'm not getting paper cuts on this. I'm better than that, I think. See, we're using the M3x18s right now. There they are. For those, oh wait, only two? Yeah, I guess it is only two. Two of those and two nuts. All right. Let's do this the easy way. Take the part actually out. There we go. Insert the screws from the bottom. That's easier for me. You know why? Because I'm good at screwing up. Ha ha, get it? I may put thread lock on this if this gets going and I like it and the nuts start coming loose, I may kind of one at a time take these off and put some thread locking compound on them. But I may need to be careful with that because I think some of the thread lockers eat plastic. And that reminds me, there was a guy I knew who, instead of using thread locker, used Elmer's glue, just plain white glue. And plain white glue will do just as good a job. And it won't kill the acrylic. All right. Step 6. Oh, good God. Step 6 is where this project shows its Mark II heritage. Because front to back, it's threaded rod. Come on. Apparently they're into saran wrap bondage or something with this stuff. Hey John, if you are still in chat, I would like to say thank you again for the feedback on the thumbnails for my videos. I know I need to go back and kind of redo the other ones in the new style, but I kind of like the way they look. That look has kind of grown on me.
okay, Jake?
Yeah. Yeah, I said saran wrap bondage. Alright, that doesn't seem like it's bent. Lead screw doesn't seem like it's bent. I'm kind of checking these as we go. That lead screw looks okay. More threaded rod. That seems mostly okay. And then one little piece of threaded rod. Why is there one extra little one? I guess I'll find out. All right. This is going to have some M8 nuts and M8 spacers. 2 400mm threaded rods. I'll take this other one and set it aside. 12 M8 nuts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 12 M8 spacers, which I assume they mean are washers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the spool holder. Okay. Thank you again, Corliss. You, sir, are very knowledgeable about this printer, whereas I am putting one together from a PDF, having not ever done it before.
Hello, Robbie Mac. Thank you for joining.
Okay. Now, it shows a before assembly and after assembly. Okay. So we're using the spacing of this to determine the spacing of the nuts that we're putting on. So I guess first things first, I'll put on a washer and a nut. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Now those go right through here, and then it just rests on that part. Okay. Well, with that sitting like that, I'll go ahead and do the other one. And then I've got a lot of other bits. You know what? No. That seems counterproductive. What is the front to back dimension?
I have no idea.
Well, I assume that with the threaded rods both being an identical length, and they are identical, that if I have the exact same amount of thread sticking out the either end of it, you know what I mean, that it should be okay. But I will check and make sure that it's square. I will make sure that it's square. That way things will stay aligned. I'm going to, I don't know if you guys can see me. If they could see me now. I am putting nuts and washers on. And I'm just kind of spinning this threaded rod. Because it's going to capture the centerpiece partway through.
Okay. I will do that.
That actually makes the most sense out of all of this. This is going to go through here. I need a washer over here. nut over here. Based on the time, I think we're probably going to get the frame built today, or at least right now we'll get the frame built. And I forgot a washer. Stupid me. It's faster to take it off this side. I think we'll get the frame put together for this stream, and then I will stream later tonight. I've got a cordless drill. I don't know if I want to do that though. And then later tonight, after I get the kid put to bed, I can stream the remainder of this, and that will probably be around 9 o'clock Central Time, possibly 10. I have some other stuff to do after I get the kid to bed, like making dinner and stuff, or before putting the kid to bed. Anyway, alright, so this needs another washer here. There are lots of washers. And that will sit right there. Why am I doing this stupidly? I keep doing this in a stupid way. It's like I'm not wrapping my head around where the washers need to go. But no worries. We'll get this done. And it won't be too bad either. So that goes there. That will go about there. Got washers on both sides of each of those connections. We're just kind of putting this in loose. Okay, that's just so if I put this on here and then slide 2 washers in and then do another nut, I can just keep those spinning. To get that through far enough to pop out over here. I will do that coreless. I see where there are holes through the acrylic where the smooth rod fits, and I know there's little end caps that go over those. And I will use the length of the smooth rods and get them flush with that by adjusting these nuts. And I will use that as the guide to get the frame lined up. Yeah, there's some little end caps. They are little acrylic end caps, and they're kind of teardrop shaped. They are these little, they look kind of like pinball flippers. These little things right here. Are they showing? Do I need to go higher? Hello? Did I lose my stream? Did I lose a camera? I lost a camera. How did I lose a camera? I'll do this. These little things. And they sit here. So you got the hole where the smooth rod goes through. And then these screw on. And then they fall on the floor. No, they screw on and they cover up that end cap. And that keeps the smooth rod in place. Let me see if I can fix that camera. That is weird. Let me turn it off and turn it on again. That didn't help. I will unplug it and plug it back in again. See if that works. Off. On. Will it come back? Yay! Stupid camera. Alright. Let's get another washer and another nut. Well, they cover it, so I call them caps. Okay, that's about where that needs to be. That's about where that needs to be. Now, it's time to get the front part on. I guess I can turn this so you guys can see. I don't know if that's not really helping, is it? Let me do this. Okay. Thank you, Matt. Alright, so get this stuff over here. Aim this down a little more, I guess. Sorry for the shaky cameramanship. Alright. That's going to go there after the washers go on. None of this is like super tightened down or anything. It's all just kind of sitting there. That and that and this. Yeah, we don't want the screws to hit the bed. That would suck. Alright. So, that appears to conclude step 6. That's 5:15-ish. Time for the smooth rods. Gotta find them. Where'd they hide them? There they are. Let me set this part down again. This is kind of a cool printer design. Critical juncture. Ah, I can handle the pressure, I think, I hope. Ah, the saran wrap. Well, yeah, cordless. The mechanics are a fairly well understood thing. With the Techie Dad said he had a clear one, and I know there's the AM8, which I don't know if that's direct from Anet or if that's just like a name given to building your own metal frame for an Anet A8. Hoping I could get some of these out without having to get all of the saran wrap off. Okay, that one came out. With that one out, the rest should hopefully start coming out. Out! Out! Nope, not gonna do it. Gotta undo more of the saran wrap. I will tell you guys that when I put my my Prusa Mark III together, that was like an 8-hour ordeal. Okay. Are the two long rods the Y rods? Or are they the Z rods? Or the X rods? $380mm. And the other ones were 400, so these are going to be long. Let me see. Let me see how this fits. They look like they're about the right length. No, these are going to be Z. The long ones are Z. The other 4 sets, the other set of 4 are going to be X and Y. Yep. That's how that goes. Let me get this in-stop cable out of the way. That'll go there. That'll go there. I think I'm going to tighten the back down. And adjust from the front. Let's see. Got a big wrench. And I got the little bitty wrench that they give you. Get that adjusted for the nuts. It's almost time for me to leave, but I want to get the smooth rods installed before I go. There's that. And that. Okay. So the connection at the back is now secured. I'm going to set the smooth rods aside for a second. They keep popping out as I move things around. We'll just set them aside. I'm going to get the center part of this tightened down. And again, not super tight, just kind of enough to get a grip. And I know before the rods go, the smooth rods go fully in place, I got to put the diddly boppers, the bearings for the carriage. Bring this way, and then this way. So, bearings are over here. Let me get those. 4 bearings. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to guess the where the bearings are for, wait a minute. Where's the hot end on this thing? Oh, here it is. I set it over here. I'm like, where the hell is it? Okay. It's over there with the spiral wrap. The yeah, the bearing sleeves are plastic. It's got like the LM8 UU type bearings inside. And looking at the way they are aligned, this is the right kind. This is mostly the right alignment. Got to get the right alignment on them. I may have to pop those out and move them a little bit. But in cross section, the bearings need to look like a plus configuration and not a X configuration. Yes, Jake, I did. For science. So that's 1, 2, 3. Well, I don't like it. I need to adjust it. Let's get a screwdriver in there and twist the plastic on the bearing holder. Alright, really? You gonna be like that? You could just come right out, but you're not gonna. Why you gotta be this way? I'll try another one. Find one that'll let me adjust it. No, Jake. Ouch. I stuck in my thumb and pulled out a bearing. Had to kind of get it over the little ridges in there that are designed to hold it in place. For those of you just tuning in, I am rotating the bearing inside this sleeve so that if you look inside one of these bearings, it's got 4 little raceways for the balls to slide around in. And you want to have the balls on the top and the bottom and the left and the right. So in a plus kind of configuration. You don't want an X configuration because then the bearings aren't actually bearing the full weight of the carriage. Almost back in place. There we go. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 where the bearings are the right way. And now I can get 2 each on the smooth rods. And get the smooth rods in the frame. Have some faith, Jake. Have faith in what I'm doing. M3x18 screws and some nuts to get the little flappity doodahs in place. Yes, balls. It's not just a curse word anymore. 3x18. Alrighty. Because these are going to go through here. And let me get my little pinball bumpers. Pinball clippers. I don't think I want 1 million views at this point because I don't have enough subscribers to be able to get ad revenue. Although maybe I would get more subscribers. If I got enough subscribers, but I still don't think I would want the house to burn down. I've got too much stuff in here. So that would still suck. Well, Jake, it was 129 bucks. And also, well, it was like 129 bucks and close to $30 shipping. But this is a project that Cordless Media kind of turned me onto. We're going to do a clipper firmware install later, not right away, but soon. Yes, definitely. This is brought to you by Cordless Media 2.0. Cordless is footing the bill for a fair portion of the Anet A8. Which was remarkably generous of him, and thank you very much. I do appreciate it. All right, we'll get these little ears up. Get 2 more of these little things for the smooth rods on the back. And what I'll do is I will get these down in the back so that they prevent the smooth rods from sliding out. And then I can get the front of the printer frame adjusted. Oh, goodness gracious. Stupid paper. There we go. Ah. An acrylic printer is probably something that you only build once. Does that sound accurate? Pardon me. Okay. Let that sit up like that. Get this last one. Okay, for those of you still here, we are just about done with, I guess, stream 1 of getting this put together. Because I do have to go get my kid in a few minutes. But we're going to get the smooth rods installed, and we're going to get the frame squared up, and then we're going to come back later tonight and finish this up. Oh, come on, thing, get on there. There we go. There was a nut that was not wanting to go into place. Okay. So, let me loosen up the nuts on the front side of all of this. Now on the back, I can go ahead and put the cover in place for the smooth rod and tighten that down. There's going to be a fair amount of threaded rod coming through the front, but that's okay. That is okay. All right, let's get the other smooth rod, and we will get another pair of bearings installed. Slide that through there and through there. We'll get the back of this down. Get that tightened in. Okay, now the back is in, and the front is going to be right about there. That's like spot on right there. I'll bring this one forward. That is flush right there. Go ahead and tighten that down. All right. And Matt from Inside the Mind of Matt told me to put the screws through the inside of the frame toward the outside so that the carriage doesn't hit. And I have done that. So that okay. Well, we've got the smooth rods in. The frame is pretty much done. The stuff left to do is getting the carriage on. I wonder if I can get that on real quick. Let's see. The carriage is going to be here. I got to get the little dealie for the belt, which is going to be one of these parts in here. Looks like just two of these. That off of there. I think after I end this stream, I will probably try to clean up this work area just a smidgen. But later tonight will be 2.0 of all of this. And like I said, that's probably going to be about 9 o'clock Central Time. And then hopefully we'll be able to get an actual print out of the machine. Ordinarily, I would print a Calicat, but I think when we get this going, I will ask you guys what you want to print. Calicat or Benchy or something else. What is this showing me? besides showing me that this goes on upside down. I've got the 2 belt clamps, which I guess I'm just putting them on. I'm not going to loop the belt in yet. I guess I'll just get those in place. And what screws do those use? Those use M4 by 14s. Is that this? This is M4 by 8s and M4 by 14s. So we will use that. That looks like a 14, that looks like a 14. That looks like a 14, and come on. That looks like a 14. Ah. Come on. Now I need like a little funnel to get the screws back in the bag. Or I need to drop them, one or the other. No, let's not drop the screws unless we are dropping them in the bag. Get back here. This, by the way, is up in my attic, where we are right now. All right, so that's there. Move those out of the way. Let's get these in place. And these come up from the underneath. So I'm guessing that you just kind of slide the belt in between the part in the frame. Where am I? Do it over here. Just kind of slide the belt in between this acrylic part and this cross member and then tighten it down. That's probably how that works. Because this is the underneath of the plate. Hey man, you're halfway done, Jeremy. Almost halfway. The higher that one goes, the less plastic it uses, so if that's 45% by layer count or 45% by progress through the G-code, I'm not sure which. But the layers will go faster as it goes. All right, let me get these slid around a little. Because this is going to go here. This is our next step to put the belt on. M4 by 8s. And that's a lot of the ones that I just put right back in that bag, so let me get those out. M4 by 8 screws to attach the carriage, the Y carriage, to the bearings. 4 screws per bearing. And I'm going to do this back here. I hate when I drop these things. Where'd it go? There it is right there. Good, it didn't go far. I'm going to do this like I did on my Y carriage video for the Monoprice, where I'm going to put these in not tight until I get them all in, and then I'm going to kind of cross tighten them so that everything is aligned. This does not seem like a bad printer so far.
Yeah, I'm going to go get her in just a minute.
Okay. No, I'm aware of the time. Doing a quick stream. But once I finish this step, I'm heading out. I want to be able to at least get to the point where we've got the carriage sliding back and forth smoothly. Now, I don't know if it should concern me that the screws for the belt clamp stick up so far. I'm guessing they're going to not stick up quite so far when they're clamping the belt. But I would just sort of be afraid of them hitting the underside of the heated bed and causing a short circuit. Alright, so that's that. We'll start tightening this down. Gently at first. And again, we're just kind of cross-tightening like you would if you were putting a spare tire on a car. Okay. That's about as loud as any other i3 bearing or i3 style machine bearing that I've heard. It might be amplified a little bit by the acrylic. Might be one of those that it might be worth it to put the Drylin bushings on instead. Let me make sure these are all tightened. Alright, front left tightened all the way. Right rear tightened all the way. Right front tightened all the way. And we're not cranking down on these. And then left rear tightened all the way. The carriage. Let me turn this back this way so you guys can see it. All right. Well, let me switch back over here. Hang on just a second. Change scenes here. And here I am. Nope, wrong way. Turn this way. There we go. All right, so I guess that's about it for this part of the stream. We've got most of that machine built. The frame, anyway. So we got the frame and the carriage on. We're still going to need to put the Z-axis and the Y-axis together, so that'll be later tonight. Probably, like I said, about 9 o'clock Central. So look for me about then. I will probably schedule that stream around 8:30ish or so you guys get a notification. So that's it for now. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in. I really appreciate it. And thanks again to Cordless Media 2.0 for sponsoring part of the build. That's awesome. I do appreciate it. So I guess that's it. Everybody go have some fun. I got to go pick up a kid from daycare and make some dinner, and then I'll be back. All right.